Hi friends, today I'm going to show you how I start an oil painting using the technique of underpainting or imprimatura. Well, the easel is prepared and we are ready to start. For this project, I'm using a square canvas of 30 inches. It is a cotton fine grain pre-stretched linen painting canvas. Since it is already triple primed, I will not be using gesso. The subject I'm about to paint is one of my favorites. I love repurposing empty bottles, whether they are beverage bottles or old mason jars, into plant and flower vases. This time I'll be recreating a memory from a photograph I took 4 years ago of gorgeous gladioli stalks in empty bottles basking in the sun. The first step that I take is to transfer the image onto the canvas by making a sketch. I use a 2B graphite pencil to create my sketch. A graphite sketch before an underpainting allows for near precise placement and some amount of detail work before committing to paint. You can also use a fixative spray to prevent the graphite from smudging when applying the underpainting. Sketch medium like graphite, charcoal, ink, colored pencils or pastel pencils offer different benefits and suit various artistic needs. So do give those a try too. It's the thick of the monsoon or the rainy season here, so the lighting in my art studio is not perfect. But it also offers wonderful glimpses into nature right outside my window. Having finished the graphite sketch, I'm now going to start the underpainting. I'm using burnt sienna for my underpainting. You will also need a paint medium like linseed oil that is fast drying ideally. Plus you will need a solvent like distilled turpentine oil. I'm using a 1-inch flat brush with hard bristles for the underpainting. I take a little bit of burnt sienna paint directly in a glass bowl and use 2 parts of the solvent and 1 part of the medium to create a light mixture which is fluid and easy to apply. After this, I can just go ahead and apply this fluid all over the canvas in broad strokes. After applying the first wash in my underpainting, I leave it to dry for about 20 to 30 minutes. The next step is an important one. It's called blocking in. It helps to define the lights and shadows, establish composition with greater details in the underpainting process. It helps to redefine the shapes of the graphite sketch that have possibly been washed off in the first stage of the underpainting. Drawing these basic shapes and forms helps me to remember where the main elements of my composition are, and I do this with almost full-bodied paint, slightly thinned out. Blocking in also helps define light and shadow. Using darker and lighter tones of the paint help indicate where the light source hits and where the shadows fall. This helps to create a sense of volume and depth early in the painting process. So why do an underpainting? Using a blank white canvas for starting an oil paint can actually be a little intimidating and in fact technically challenging. It's difficult to judge value on a blank white canvas. It offers glare under lighting, making it harder to see and judge the true values of the colors that one is applying. An underpainting with a neutral color also helps reduce the strain on the eyes. Working on a bright white surface for extended periods can really strain your eyes, making it uncomfortable to paint and potentially leading to mistakes. Burnt sienna also helps establish the middle tones of the painting well. You can also use 2 to 3 hues for background underpainting. For example, you can combine burnt sienna with a cooler hue like ultramarine blue or a complementary color like raw umber to create a balanced and nuanced underpainting that will support the layers to come. Remember to always work in a well-ventilated area when using oil paints, medium or solvents. The process of blocking in, to me, is the first stage of actually manifesting the final painting. It provides a clear visual guide to me for the rest of the painting that is yet to come. After having finished this stage of blocking in, I'm going to leave this painting to dry overnight. It's past 10 in the night and this entire process has taken me almost the entire day. Now I will begin the next phase, which is called the first pass or the first layers of actual paint going onto the canvas. I focus on the main hues and values that I'll be applying in this first pass. I begin with the terracotta background. I'm using a large brush. This is a Filbert number 11. It helps me get great coverage while doing the background. I first start with the background colors. In this case, the first wash of the terracotta tiles. I apply the paint relatively in thin layers still, allowing for building up the color gradually in subsequent layers. This allows me greater control and the ability to adjust colors and values as I go along. Be open to adjusting the colors and values as you see and deem fit and how they interact on the canvas. This stage is all about having fun and building a strong foundation for the finer details and nuances that will come later. Remember to keep your layers thin in the first pass. Especially in the early stages, relatively thin paint allows for more flexibility and coverage and prevents the paint from becoming too thick too quickly. I may include some patches of sunlight and background elements visible in the photograph, which are of light tonal value, probably some sunlight peeking through the trees. Remember for shadows to use cooler, darker tones, and for highlights use warmer and lighter tones. For the hedge in the background, for example, I work on establishing a mid-tone green first and then I move on to applying just some highlights and some deeper toned shadows. I then apply the base colors of the empty bottles, considering the transparency and reflections. Of course, there'll be more details later, but this phase is a great foundation to start doing that. I love oil painting because it's a practice that demands patience and dedication. Each layer builds upon the last to create depth and richness. I can't wait for this painting to come together. But then again, I remind myself to enjoy the process. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up and do subscribe to my channel.